I hate this tactic, and I've seen it in many recent debates.
Oh, interesting. Trent hates this tactic. What is the tactic that he showed right here? He did the very thing in the video he says is the thing he hates, so he's full of shit. Trent clips all that out to make me look bad. But no, Trent just hates it when it's not useful for him. Every day is a new opportunity for Trent to wake up and inform the rest of the internet world that he's morally superior to everyone else. So essentially, I'm convinced that Trent wakes up and basically just thinks about, in what way today can I make a video where I whine and bitch about how everyone is morally inferior? Because essentially his channel has turned into basically just that. It's about the weekly soap opera drama of who is not living up to Trent's moral standards. To me, this is the last gasps of Catholic apologetics. And the only reason it even has a little bit of breath in it is because Trent has agreed to do 2 debates with me finally, after years of prodding and pushing and harassing him. Not literally, but it's not going to go well for Trent. I will not be easy and nice on Trent Horn, especially not after all of this stuff. Now, there could have been a course correction. We could have gone in a more amicable way. Trent does not want that. Trent is absolutely not interested in that. Everything that you see with Gavin Ortland or Trent Horn that's public is a fake, false niceness. And I don't know why people can't see that. At least with me, despite whatever rough edges you think I have or mean guy that you think I am, like, this is the real me. So let's see what Trent is whining, complaining about today. It's basically Trent has retreated into a form of like video logging. It's like vlogging. It's like wine mom. It's whining mom, not wine mom. It's whining wine mom. Vlogging is what we do over here. It's crazy.
Question of who killed Charlie Kirk, and this debate has been seen by over 6 million people across different channels. And while people might debate the winner of this exchange, the loser is anyone who sat through this dumpster fire thinking they'd see an edifying exchange of ideas. So today on the Council of Trent, I'll be talking.
Trent, you're looking kind of rough, bro. You need to get a little more sleep. Maybe a little bit longer, a couple more hours. Maybe you're looking like you didn't get any sleep last night. Looking rough, bro.
About this debate, how debates have gotten dumber, and how some Christians have lost their way in all of this. But to do that, you'll need some background on this controversy. On September 17th...
First of all, let's make a couple points, because this is another one of these videos like he made 6 months ago, blaming the Ortho Bros that debate is evil and bad now. Debate is so mean, and it's WWE, and it's low tier, and it's blood sports. Okay, he thinks, by the way, blood sports is this new thing. It's like, blood sports is 10 years old, dude. I was there at the beginning of it. Blood sports is not a new thing, it's 10 years old. Now, I'm going to check. We're going to see, because I explained some of the context to my 1 versus 5. How much you want to bet? We're going to see. Do you think Trent deleted my comment, or do you guys think it's still there? Now, I haven't looked, so I don't know. And I don't want you guys to go look yet. But do you think he deleted my comment explaining what the 1 versus 5 really was? Or do you think he left it there? It will be interesting to see. This, of course, is a similar video that Trent made after I did the Tilda Swinton, Bishop Tilda Swinton joke, where he put up the video saying that this was a moral outrage. I can't believe somebody would make fun of a blacktivist fake con man bishop on Piers Morgan. It's unconscionable. It's just unbelievable that somebody would do that. And so that was back when he was originally saying, oh, the Ortho Bros are so bad because they have basically destroyed debate. Right? So that's our fault. It's all our fault that we destroyed debate. Now, wait a minute. Bloodsports is 10 years old. So wait a minute. Is it Andy Worski's fault that there's Bloodsports? Is it JF Garrieppi's fault? Is it Ralph Retort's fault? Or because Andrew took over basically what Bloodsports was, now it's Andrew's fault, you see. So it's Ortho Bro. Right? Collective guilt. Now remember, what was Marquette all about? And I say this because what I've noticed over the last 10 years of intense online interactions with Roman Catholics and their apologists is not all of them, but 90%, 9 out of 10, Okay, we'll exclude Tim Gordon as the one that is not like this. 9 out of 10 are identical to the left. It's the exact same as leftists. Moral outrage over minor infractions, ignoring massive butt scandals, underage scandals, sweeping all of that under the rug, ignoring massive theological challenges and problems, focusing on minutia in your church, Orthodox, evil Ortho bros. Exactly the same tactics as the left. They act just like the left. Now, I remember some years back, the only time I can recall being banned on X, I've never been banned on Twitter or X, except one time. Guess who got me banned for 2 or 3 days? You got it, Roman Catholics. The Roman Catholics reported my X channel or my X profile back in, I want to say 2018. Now, in 2014 or 15, maybe 16, I got the first year-long ban. And I don't know anybody else who had this. I was the first person on Facebook to get a year-long ban. And guess who I was debating for that? Roman Catholics. I was debating the called to communion guys. The called to communion guys. Brian, well, I don't even remember the guy's name. Anyway.
Candace Owens released an episode on her podcast called Who Ordered the Hit on Charlie Kirk, where she said some of the evidence for Tyler Robinson being the shooter did not add up or was fabricated. Owens said Kirk's changing views toward Israel may have created powerful enemies, but at this time, she did not claim TPUSA, Erica Kirk, Israel, or any other group was specifically involved in Charlie's murder. Then on November 17th, Owens cited an anonymous source saying that Egyptian planes were tracking Erica Kirk. But since the U.S. gives over $1 billion to the Egyptian government each year, it's not surprising to see their vehicles in our country for servicing. Erica also pointed out that Candace Owens has been wrong about her past travel itineraries.
So if you want to go through my flight log, go right ahead. It's very boring. You say I was here on this date. I have a photo on my phone to prove that I actually was in the hospital because I was having contractions. So game on.
So aside from these details not proving anything, Candace Owens doesn't explain why the Egyptian government would want to kill Charlie Kirk. She just called...
Well, first of all, just a minor critique. Playing Erica Kirk claiming that is not proof of anything. Maybe she has photos of that. I don't really care either way. I'm not a follower of Erica Kirk. But if you're going to argue somehow that disproves necessarily a Candace claim, that was not very good evidence. But also, we have been very critical of Candace for the last year about all these things.
Was it a mystery? Well, until January 2026, when she said this.
I'm convinced these were Israeli planes. That's why they're panicking about it. Like, obviously, like we all know Egypt, the whole thing, they're running stuff through Egypt, obviously.
But flashback to December, where along with the Egyptian plane theory, Owens said the French government was also involved in Charlie Kirk's death. She said of an anonymous source that
I asserted that the French Foreign Legion, which was a legion and a group that I had never heard about prior to this notification, were involved.
She'd never even heard of the French Foreign Legion until this anonymous conspiracy email source. Oh my gosh, dude. And by the way, Trent is not any better. He's turbo normie. Trent doesn't even believe there is, even after Koof and Davos, Trent still believes and says there is no New World Order, and Epstein basically didn't do anything, especially in regard to the Vatican. There's no conspiracies. Look away, look away.
In Charlie Kirk's assassination.
And Owens specifically named billionaire Pierre Falcone as the French connection behind Charlie Kirk's death. But then on December 2nd, Candace Owens posted the following on X. I now can say with full confidence that I believe Charlie Kirk was betrayed by the leadership of Turning Point USA and some of the very people who eulogized him on stage. Yes, I will be naming names and providing evidence for my claims. Then on December 18th, Candace Owens interviewed a man named Mitch, who claimed to see U.S. military officials and a woman who looked like Erica Kirk meet at a U.S. military base in Arizona. Okay, so Egypt, or Israel somehow pretending to be Egypt, and France.
Well, first of all, the CIA and Israel do have quite a bit of connection to and usage of, at times, Egyptian planes and Egyptian intelligence. So that's not actually that surprising. Sometimes there have been obviously squabbles, but also there's been collaboration. But to Trent's point here, as we actually argued way before Trent ever, as to my knowledge, stepped into this, yeah, this makes no sense, right? Candace is basically coming up with a new line of theorizing every week and dripping it out.
And the U.S. government and TPUSA are all involved in Charlie Kirk's murder. And not only that, we're going to get evidence for these claims. Or maybe we won't, because here's how Candace Owens responded to Andrew Wilson when he asked her about this evidence in their debate.
So you think you with full confidence, you think that,
Yeah, I think
that France
Israel's
and
involved.
Israel?
Yeah, I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day. Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over. I can't do that. I'm not.
But
the
you don't
United
have any
States
positive
government.
evidence of
Okay,
that.
okay.
Right?
Liz, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying positive evidence. I just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think they are
that's
involved.
a claim.
No, I said here's what I think.
I have every right to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's positive evidence
in
for
this
your
statement,
claim.
I literally just said I think, and I am allowed to think.
Yeah,
And
you're
you
allowed
keep
to
saying you
think,
have
but you're making a
positive
claim.
evidence.
So I'm asking, if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least walk me through the mindset of why it is that you can think that with
I actually
evidence.
don't have to walk you through why I think. I can give you something that I think with full confidence. I think with full confidence that you lost the substance of this debate, and now you're moving toward things that I have said that I think, which I can do.
I wouldn't be surprised if Candace Owens' source behind all of this was, I made it up. You see, what Candace Owens does is she throws any fact or theory at the wall like spaghetti to see what will stick. And her audience eats...
Hello, that's what I said. I mean, now maybe Trent came up with that on his own, but it's pretty much exactly all the analysis that I gave. Interesting.
This up while forgetting all her speculations that never went anywhere. And when someone calls out Owens' speculations, she acts like she never made them in the first place.
I mean, that was our whole stream, Mott and Bailey. So, I mean, does Trent hate watch? Is he like, I'm starting to think the chat, right? Jethro, Slowboy Whiteboard. I'm starting to think that might be Trent's sock account hate watching. Trent's our #1 hate watcher, dude. He's at the top. He's at the top of the hate watch list.
But even though her claims are absurd, Candace Owens has still retained control over what she says. She isn't randomly spouting nonsense. As a result, she is morally culpable for her words because she's smart enough to not make a specific claim, like Erica Kirk murdered Charlie, or Erica Kirk was complicit in Charlie's murder. If Owens did that, then she could be sued for defamation. Owens basically admits this in her debate with Wilson.
I want to just directly ask you is, do you actually believe that anybody in TPUSA or Erica Kirk or Erica actually participated, had foreknowledge of?
Yeah, I've been having all these same critiques for 1 year now. I mean, I'm 1 year in. And as I've said, I don't know how many times over, I do think that there are other groups involved. I do not believe the official story. I have my own working theory, but I do not have hard proof of that theory. I do have things that I think point in that direction, but I don't claim to have hard proof per se. But in many high profile events, there will unfortunately not be hard proof necessarily. Think about the Big 9 event, right? I do not immediately de facto believe the establishment story of bin Laden. Furthermore, bin Laden himself has a long history of being used by British intelligence and the CIA on record.
Or facilitated the murder of Charlie Kirk.
I'm not going to get myself into a legal pickle here. Everything I've said is on my podcast. I think firmly that if I was the investigating officers, I would seat them all and I would ask questions. I would at this phase.
How would it be the case that even if Erica Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, let's say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did. She just actually did. Would it then follow that somehow she's complicit in his death?
I didn't say implicit in death. You added those two words.
Okay, so what's she complicit in?
Yes, so sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty.
But in previous episodes of her podcast, Candace Owens walks right up to the line of that accusation and says stuff like this.
Straight to jail, straight to jail. For questioning at least Erica Kirk should be dragged into a police precinct for questioning. Like I said, it convinces me that Erica's a psychopath. That's a psychopath. Erica's a psychopath. And I want to say to JD Vance, you better wake up fast, okay? That's a Black Widow, my friend.
So I've kept digging because in every homicide investigation, a potential suspect is the spouse, especially when they have so much to gain, right?
If the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies that Charlie told regarding the murder or assassination of his wife, Charlie would be in prison awaiting trial. And I actually agree with that assessment. We are way beyond coincidence. This is now a full-blown conspiracy. I'm at the point right now, I want Erica to just drop a book like, If I Did Do It, like OJ did. If I Did Do It by Erica Kirk. I think that would move more copies than the book about Shabbat.
Yeah, calling a woman a Black Widow and comparing her to O.J. Simpson is not what you say about someone who merely says another person like Tyler Robinson is guilty. It's an indirect way of saying that a specific woman is complicit in murder. What Owens does through hours of programming is to create guilt by association and insinuation. She just throws a bunch of scary sounding facts at the screen.
Interesting. Guilt by association, insinuation, leftist tactic. Oh, and also Roman Catholic tactic. They love guilt by association.
hoping some of them will stick, and that the sheer number of these claims overwhelms those who are trying to process her argument. This allows her to make money off the claim that Erica was involved in Charlie's murder while protecting herself from being sued because she never explicitly makes that claim and only spews a bunch of unrelated facts. Moreover, as a self-identified Catholic, Candace Owens should be ashamed of herself. Paragraph 2479 in the Catechism says, "Detraction and calumny destroy the reputation and honor of one's neighbor. Honor is a social witness given to human dignity, and everyone enjoys a natural right to the honor of his name and reputation and to respect. Thus, detraction and calumny offend against the virtues of justice and charity."
Oh, here we go. The old charity lines of the Roman Catholics. Charity, charity, charity. Oh my gosh, you're not charitable. Now, interesting because, of course, Candace claims to be Roman Catholic. Why doesn't Trent call out all the other problem Roman Catholics? Now, maybe he does because I don't watch his show and I don't watch his stuff very much unless it comes across my DMs through him referring to me, but because usually that's when people send me, "Oh, did you hear what Trent said about you?" No, I don't watch Trent Horn until you send me the videos. Then I see it. But I don't know. I mean, I would like to see Trent Horn calling out Jesus and whatnot, calling out the Gen Z Cholo cheater, calling out the sort of unhinged Roman Catholics out there. To my knowledge, he calls out, oh, the bigger profiles like Candace and Fuentes. Oh, so according to the rest of internet, that would be ankle biting, wouldn't it? Because if I criticize anyone larger, it's ankle biting. So is it ankle biting if Trent only calls out Candace and Nick, but won't call out all of these other goobertards who actually have, in the case of Jesus and whatnot, a larger following than he does?
And paragraph 2477 says, "Respect for the reputation of persons forbids every attitude and word likely to cause them unjust injury. He becomes guilty of rash judgment who, even tacitly, assumes as true without sufficient foundation the moral fault of a neighbor. Of detraction, who, without objectively valid reason, discloses another's faults and failings to persons who did not know them."
Now, wait a minute. Let's see if let's apply this same standard to Trent himself when later on in the video, he will not give the context or the full clip of me with Cholo Cheater.
Of calumny, who by remarks contrary to the truth harms the reputation of others and gives occasion for false judgments concerning them. I'm sure Candace Owens would condemn a hypothetical podcaster for the same reasons listed here in the Catechism, and maybe even take legal action against a hypothetical podcaster who said something like, "I think Candace Owens murdered Charlie Kirk so she could make millions of dollars promoting this conspiracy about him." And I doubt Candace Owens would buy the excuse from this hypothetical podcaster if he were to say, "Well, I'm allowed to think, aren't I?" This is why normal people will find all of this absolutely infuriating. And so I understand why someone like Andrew Wilson would want to debate and expose Candace Owens. But here's the problem. As I noted in my previous episode on how debates became dumb, modern debates are no longer about rigorously presenting evidence for an unbiased audience to consider. Instead, modern debates are just about trying to get a gotcha moment that you can spam all over the internet. Owens herself has done this with one moment from the debate where Andrew did not know the exact nature of the criminal charges against Tyler Robinson.
Now, who's to blame actually for debates becoming real gotchas? Oh, Gen Z Roman Catholics who specialize in gotcha reels like Jesus and whatnot. So Trent, I'm interested. Are you also going to call out Jesus and whatnot, who has a larger channel than you on the other profiles and on the other apps that I think would appeal to your ankle biting tendencies? So I'm waiting for the calling out of that with Jesus and whatnot.
I hate this tactic, and I've seen it in many recent debates. For example, Ethan Muse recently debated Luke Hansen on whether the Book of Mormon has demonic origins, and Muse brought up damning evidences of Joseph Smith's involvement with the occult. But instead of wrestling with all of the evidence in that debate, many Mormons have only clung to one clip where Ethan admitted he had not read the entire Book of Mormon as a way to dismiss all of his arguments. But unless Luke could show...
Yeah, by the way, this chunky weirdo reached out and I asked him about a debate, and he immediately piety signaled that he was he was too moral to deal with me. And who comes to a debate with food crumbs on your lips? This dude actually has food crumbs on his lips, his lower and upper lip, at his debate. And whenever I see fat piety signaling Roman Catholic debaters, like, I tune out, dude.
But instead of wrestling with all of the evidence in that debate, many Mormons have only clung to one clip where Ethan admitted he had not read the entire Book of Mormon as a way to dismiss all of his arguments. But unless Luke could show there was a part of the Book of Mormon Ethan had...
Oh, so notice this. So Trent is very concerned with things clipped out of context. Trent will do the exact same thing to me in this video when we get to Cholo Cheater.
Not read, that invalidated his argument. This fact alone is irrelevant to the strength of Ethan's arguments about Joseph Smith. For example, both I and Mormons would agree that the founder of Seventh-day Adventism, Ellen G. White, is not a prophet, and we don't have to read all 100,000 pages of what White wrote to reach that conclusion. The other problem with modern debates is that they tend to lack structure. They try to be more like a free-flowing conversation, as was the case in the Owens-Wilson debate. But when they're set up like that with people who are operating in debate me mode, then you're not able to get at the truth because people end up changing positions or getting out of issues or quibbling over terms. That's what Wilson and Owens did in the beginning of their debate, and a lot of it ended up being a bunch of wasted time. That's why a proper debate in this environment needs things like rebuttal rounds so that the audience can properly examine the...
Yeah, but Candace wouldn't agree to any of that, Goober. So that's nobody's fault but your own Catholic.
Evidence that's in question and not waste time changing the subject. So you need proper format and also a clear resolution. That's why you need one resolution to debate. And so in this debate between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson, it was unfortunate there were multiple resolutions. And Wilson took on a heavy burden by saying there is overwhelming evidence Tyler Robinson is guilty because Wilson doesn't have access to all the prosecution's evidence. The debate should have just really been about Candace Owens' claims that certain actors like Israel or TPUSA were involved in Charlie Kirk's death. But as you saw, Candace refuses to defend those claims. Another problem with these kinds of freeform debates as well is that they're just opportunities for grandstanding and trying to win by exuding the most confidence, not the best argument. Even when someone is shown to be wrong, they can get out of it if they just have a clever insult.
Describe how this actually links in to Robinson being a patsy.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that.
And this is behavior that Wilson himself has engaged in, so it's somewhat fitting that he's getting a taste of his own medicine.
Come on, Trent. This is rhetoric, and every debate includes jabs and rhetoric. Okay, so this like moral purity spiraling over a rhetoric component or a joke, which he's morally spiraling and saying that is a clever insult that detracts from the actual truth of the argument. Nobody who's a proficient popular debater avoids rhetoric and avoids jabs here and there. It's part of the art form of debate.
Never be able to convince you of my worldview. Charlie, I just think honestly you're too stupid to understand them.
This kind of behavior is probably the worst thing about modern debate culture, which people now call blood sport debate.
Yeah, Trent, blood sports are 10 years old. They don't now call it blood sports. I was at the inception of blood sports with Worski and JF 10 years ago. It is not a new phenomenon now titled blood sports. It has existed even before Worski, where people just talked smack. Guess what? The internet is a shit-talking machine. People get on the internet and talk smack. They always have. To the beginning of the internet. If you go back to IM, AOL Instant Messenger, other instant messengers, and you would get on there and you would debate in Yahoo chat rooms, guess what? People were talking shit, dude. Oh my gosh. The beginning of the internet is people talking shit. Twitter is people talking shit. You will never stop the internet from talking shit. Now you can say, I want formal debates. Guess what? We do formal debates. You do formal debates. You and I did one. There was no problems in that debate. The problems came afterwards when most people thought that you didn't do well. And ever since then, you have had a problem with me. Trent, is it possible? Let's play Dr. Phil Hill. Trent, is it possible? I'm not saying it's true. Is it possible? Is it possible that you have a narcissistic wound from Jay Dyer? Is that possible? Is it at all possible? That's what Dr. Phil does, right? He doesn't try to argue you out of the position. He just basically says, is it possible that there's another interpretation of the events or something else going on? Is it even possible? Do I ever not cry about people? What are you talking about? I'm responding to Trent constantly crying about me. What are you talking about?
And I hope people will push back on it because it just makes everyone stupider and wastes everybody's time. You can see that in Jay Dyer's recent debate against 5 Protestants, where he resorts to insulting his opponents to score points with the audience.
Pope St. Leo said the same thing. He said the same thing.
Thank you. So your popes also teach your stupid heresies. So popes contradict.
Okay, you believe the same thing because did your patriarchs not sign off on Chalcedon? Did they sign off on Pope St. Leo's tome and his letters? Did they sign off on it?
Okay. Did it happen outside
Sorry, he doesn't want to respond. Did they sign off on Pope Leo? Did they sign off?
You gotta look to your cholo, bro. But that's all you got to do. You gotta back up some homies. Hey, homies, back me up, bro.
Jay,
You're what?
He's Asian. He's Asian.
So
Jay, did they sign off his letters?
No more homies, bro.
Okay. Did they sign off his letters? Did they sign his letters?
I thought it was pretty good that he had no more homies because that dude looked like a cholo, but he was a fake cholo. He was an Asian, so he was a fake cholo to me. And Trent clipped this out of context because it gives the impression that, oh, this was just, oh, we finally got Jay Dyer being mean. And I knew, by the way, the Roman Catholics would do this. That's why I said, when this goes out, did I not tell you guys this is what would happen? I told you guys that the Roman Catholics would take this and they would clip it and they would say, we finally got him. Look, he's mean. We proved it. Okay. First of all, as we pointed out, since this happened, this was an agreed upon blood sports format, which is funny because Trent already acknowledged that he knows what blood sports is. And everyone agreed to that before this debate. Trent clipped just this part to make me look bad without giving the full context. Now, Trent just said you can clip things out of context with the short clips to make people look bad. He just did it. Let's go back to what Trent said right here. And you'll notice that at 13 minutes, he does the very thing that he says makes people look bad. But see, for Trent, I'm fair game. He doesn't have to apply those standards to me. Let's listen to what he says about these standards.
Forbids every attitude and word likely to cause them unjust injury. He becomes guilty.
Every attitude and word should be avoided that's likely to cause me unjust injury. Oh, but see, in a narcissistic wound mindset, I deserve the injury from Trent, you see.
Of rash judgment who, even tacitly, assumes as true without sufficient foundation the moral fault of a neighbor. Of detraction, who, without objectively valid reason, discloses another's faults and failings to persons who did not know them. Of calumny, who, by remarks contrary to the truth, harms the reputation of others and gives occasion for false judgments concerning.
So does that apply to not giving the full context of the video and admitting that from the outset, everyone agreed to blood sports and to being roasted? So that was all left out because he got the 30-second clip that gives the impression that I just randomly just was mean for no reason. Now watch what he says is the problem, and then he does the very thing in the freaking video because he thinks you're stupid that he does.
Them. I'm sure Candace Owens would condemn a hypothetical podcaster for the same reasons listed here in the Catechism. Excuse from this hypothetical on how debates became dumb. Modern debates are no longer about rigorously presenting evidence for an unbiased audience to consider. Instead, modern debates are just about trying to get a gotcha moment that you can spam all over the internet. Owens herself has done this with one moment from the debate where Andrew did not know the exact nature of the criminal charges against Tyler Robinson. I hate this tactic, and I've seen it in many recent debates.
Oh, interesting. Trent hates this tactic. What is the tactic that he showed right here? Clipping 30 seconds out of a 10, actually with Cholo Cheater, there's 20 minutes of interaction because he came up twice. So he clipped 30 seconds out and left out the context that this was an agreed upon blood sports debate that also included getting roasted. And by the way, they roasted me too. So people roasted me. They called me racist, anti-Semite, called me all these names. Oh, but if I roast back, oh, well, then you gotcha. We got you. He did the very thing in the video he says is the thing he hates. So he's full of shit.
Opponents to score points with the audience.
Pope St. Leo said the same thing. He said the same thing.
Thank you. So your popes also teach your stupid heresies. So popes contradict.
Okay, you believe the same thing because did your patriarchs not sign off on Chalcedon?
So how many seconds is this? Let's see, 13 minutes to, so 40 seconds. Out of 20 minutes of interaction with Cholo Cheater, and not talking about the context of it being blood sports and admitted roasting, Trent clips all that out to make me look bad. The very thing that he says is what he hates in debate. No, Trent just hates it when it's not useful, you see, for him. That's what it actually means.
I do think also that Andrew was underprepared for this debate, and he chose not to use his more aggressive debate tactics to compensate for that. But it's also a difficult situation in general because Owens has been pushing this conspiracy theory for over a year, and Wilson didn't have a lot of time to prepare. And given that there are so many what about this or isn't this weird non-facts that a person can throw into a debate, it makes debating issues like this a non-starter. This is why in my previous episode on debates, I said I will not debate fringe positions like flat earth theory or moon landing denial. That's because to do that, you have to spend months researching nonsense arguments. And even if you know how to answer all of them, in the actual debate, your opponent can just throw out a few dozen explain this challenges, and if you fail to address even a single one of them, he'll say that he won. Now, debates are great for engaging value questions or for helping people investigate the big questions of life, but they aren't good at proving particular cases that involve many pieces of evidence that need to be examined. This is why legal trials aren't decided by which lawyer gave the most based.
Yeah, we actually made the same point when we analyzed the Candace Andrew debate.
speech in court. They're decided by a long deliberation over all of the available evidence. So trying to replicate that in a few hours on a podcast is a waste of time. And along with wasting your time, agreeing to debate a fringe topic gives that topic legitimacy it doesn't deserve, and it gives its advocates the attention by arguing that he did not try to hurt anyone else. If things like the text messages where Robinson basically confesses were fake, as Owens alleges, then why wouldn't Robinson's defense team show that they're fake by introducing Robinson's actual phone records? This is like how moon landing conspiracies make no sense because the Soviet Union had every motivation and ability to disprove the moon landing if it didn't actually happen. And if Robinson's defense team is not using Candace's brilliant arguments because they're also part of the conspiracy.
Well, I mean, aside from whatever you think about the moon landing, that's actually not a good line of argumentation. That'd be like saying that unless the Soviets challenged every possible psyop or whatever, then you can't. I mean, if the Soviets didn't challenge some other psyop, then it wasn't a psyop, right? So like, I don't know, Gulf of Tonkin. Well, the Soviets didn't challenge Gulf of Tonkin, so there wasn't a Gulf of Tonkin false flag, right? Imagine going through every false flag, which there are dozens of admitted false flags, and then saying, well, the Soviets didn't challenge it, so therefore we don't know that. I mean, it's just an argument from silence, right? It's not a very good line of argumentation.
For reasons, then why doesn't Candace Owens use the enormous amount of money she's made pushing this conspiracy to fund her own legal dream team to exonerate Robinson and bring the true perpetrators to justice? The answer is because she has no evidence that would survive in a court of law, only wild claims from anonymous sources. And as I noted in a previous episode linked below, this disregard for evidence and critical thinking has led Candace Owens to say absolutely insane stuff, like that she can't be confident if the earth is round, or her claim that dinosaurs are fake and gay.
I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a round earther. Actually, what I am is I am somebody who has left the cult of science.
You don't believe.
By the way, that's my position. I am not. So again, all people are using my positions, dude. And I'm the one that called it fake and gay. So, dude, all these people is ganking shit from me, bro. All that shit's to gank from me, dog.
Dinosaurs are real.
So this is the funny one. This is one of the ones where I'm like, gut. I'm not kidding. This conversation happened and it was so funny. I was just walking with Savannah, my manager, because we do like these little evening walks, and I just looked up to her and I was like, dinosaurs, that seems pretty fake and gay. She's like, Savannah's from Tennessee. She's like, I've never.
I mean, what do you expect from Trent, though, somebody who believes in evolution? So, I mean, Trent is turbo normie. I mean, name a position, Trent's normie, right? Trent, by the way, if you guys remember, was pushing stabbies. And there were questions to Trent, were you paid to push the stabbies? And he says, no, but why were you tweeting publicly that you were pro stabby? Like, who cares? And why did you feel the moral need? Well, because you're a turbo normie, obviously. Because remember, according to Trent, if you were interested in going deep into Epstein or Epstein's relationship to the Vatican, which is pretty well documented, more than just one speculation, then you are essentially flat earth, or you are essentially a, whatever else, crazy conspiracy person. So Trent's doing guilt by association. The very thing that he says he doesn't do, and that's moral calumny and all this other bullshit that he does not apply to himself.
Believe in dinosaurs. Like, literally, everyone thinks there's like some conspiracy behind it. Like, that was how it started. And I was like, what on earth? I'm like, it's funny because people will literally say they don't believe in God, but then tell them like dinosaurs aren't real and they fall apart. Like, I'm like, okay, so they're just roaming the planet.
As Christians, we are called to be witnesses to the truth. 2 Timothy 4 says, for the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but having itching ears, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own likings, and will turn away from listening to the truth and wander into myths. As for you, always be steady. Endure.
Yeah, what does that have to do with this? Like, how are you? So people who doubt, like, scientism are under the ban of Timothy about false teachers. It just makes no sense. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Billions of views. I think of the 2009 debate where William Lane Craig absolutely thrashed new atheist Christopher Hitchens on the question of God's existence. But what are we doing 12 years later? Americans are less religious now than they were in
So Trent is repeating the very thing I said, that debates in the 2010s were way more high tier. And, of course, it's the fault of the ortho bros. They ruined debate. It's all our fault.
2009. And instead of promoting debates where we help people come to know the answers to life's most important questions, the debates that are getting millions of views are ones on stupid conspiracy theories. That's why I want to continue engaging non-religious critics along with Christians from different denominations. It's also why I will keep debating important moral issues like abortion or transgender ideology, even though Candace Owens has single-handedly kneecapped our ability to showcase the ideology of the radical left, given that Robinson objected to Charlie Kirk's political views, which impacted his transgender lover. This echoes other acts of transgender terrorism that I've covered in previous episodes. But we aren't talking about any of that. And even liberals like Hassan Piker are grateful that Candace Owens has made that possible.
I can't speak out against this queen because this is a queen that successfully and single-handedly undermined the Republican initiative to martyrize Charlie Kirk and use that example to
martyrize. Is that even a word? I've never heard the word martyrized. Now, it could be a word. I could be wrong, but I'm just curious because I mean, I'm more so beginning to think that Hassan Piker, with his background and his connection, is a foundation creation. Okay, apparently martyrized is a word. Interesting. So I just got IQ mugged by Hassan Albert Piker.
Crackdown on political dissent.
So yeah, ultimately this debate was bad if it helped to legitimize Candace Owens' wackadoodle methods and advertise her to a larger audience. And it was good if it helped people to see Candace Owens is not someone...
Advertise her to a larger audience? I mean, isn't she one of the biggest podcasts out there? I mean, what are you talking about? Like, I mean, she's already like Oprah, dude. She's like X-Files Oprah.